Welcome to the fourth episode of Offstage series with Cameron Leach. I'm Josh Hartwell. This was a really fun one. I know I say that about all of them, but we got into some stuff about, some orchestral, some existential crises, and, just covered all bases. We even got into some basic prep for Cam and how I'm gonna cheer him on, basically, from now until he steps foot on that stage. So anything for the listeners, Cam, before we get into the episode?
No, we just booked our room for PASIC, so we'll see all of you there. We've committed. If you listen to this episode, you'll hear I was feeling wishy-washy about my concert, but
too late now.
I'm committed now.
Yeah, he's definitely committed, and so am I after seeing that price. And it's saving money. Anyway, we're rooming together. Also, I think that means we're gonna be doing some pods. Depends on how much we want to be around people. So
we'll drink whiskey and talk to each other.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, it's gonna be a good time. It'll be a live Rudimental podcast and live Offstage series. So with that being said, here's episode 4 of the Offstage series with Cameron Leach.
Be in the same room. Yeah, I'm so sick of Zoom at this point. I mean, it was like in vogue to be sick of Zoom last like summer, and now it's like, no, I'm really like, it's been over a year. Like I'm pretty much over it.
I mean, you've had your malfunctions too with like clinic and master classes and stuff too, right?
Yeah, I'm supposed to reschedule that for tomorrow. He hit me up yesterday. He's like, I forgot to send you this message. Can you do Wednesday? I'm like, oh, dude, so I mean, yes, fine, we'll do it. But yeah, I'm just tired of the whole thing. And it was like one issue that I could have fixed, but I hadn't done a live performance in so long on Zoom. I usually do pre-recorded. That I'm just an idiot, man. So like streaming software will only accept 2 inputs, and I was running 8 mics. Yeah, and so even if you run it all into an interface that has 8 inputs, it's only going to take the first 2 of them. So you have to run it into a mixer first, and then send stereo to your interface. I totally forgot. So I had it running into my interface, and the dude was only hearing my vibe mic and my talking mic, and I was like, nice.
You like that?
It was super embarrassing. And I could have recabled it quick, but it would have I would have had to re-sound check it all, and there was no way to go through individual mics.
You're over. We're over Zoom. Like that's just annoying.
So, but yeah, man, I was out of town this past weekend in Iowa doing this Columbus Symphony show, and then the CDC order came down of like no more masks, basically, Yeah. And it was funny because this symphony is like a lot of older people, and even those people were like ready to rock.
Yeah, let's go.
We were all vaxxed, and everything, but it was like done.
I think it took us. I think it took a second for people to realize how monumental that announcement was.
Well, and and then people are pissed, and you're never gonna please everybody, but yeah, like I ended up going out. I mean, I was gonna go out anyways. Shoot, we were out on tour, and we're vaxxed, and we don't, we're just having a good time. But I ended up going out, and then they lifted the mask order, and then I was at a college bar, wall to wall people. The bartenders aren't wearing masks. Nobody gave a single shit. It was, I mean, I actually felt kind of weird about it.
Dude, they don't care about anything. They live in Iowa.
It was Dubuque, it's yeah, I mean, when I got there, I was like, I get it,
Yeah.
But yeah, I went into my first store without a mask on, and that was weird. Like walking in. Yeah, a little bit. I was walking in, and they had immediately put a sign up the CDC says no more masks as of this date. And I just took it off and walked in. I was like, let's go.
Glorious moment. And you just have trumpet sounding.
Yeah, slow-mo.
I'm getting vaccinated tomorrow, so I'm about to get some hella good 5G, and I'm about to get some. I shouldn't say that, but no, there's getting vaccinated tomorrow, and honestly, that order was part of the reason why I was like, I might as well just go ahead and do it, because it's not like I wasn't ever going to do it. I just kept putting it off. So also, I wasn't going a ton of places either.
Yeah. Oh man. So, anyways, I don't remember the last time we checked in.
Well, it was a few weeks
Probably.
ago.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
I think I was at the very beginning of what was about to be like a nightmare period, and it was, you know.
yeah,
But I don't know.
it was definitely. I think it was April 27th. We last talked. So
Okay.
it's been 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I've had a birthday since then. I'm 26.
Oh, happy birthday, man.
Thank you. And I am falling apart. So there's I'm just old as shit. And then, uh, but you've been playing a lot. It seems like with the symphony. Which symphony is that again?
Columbus
Colum-
Symphony.
Columbus Symphony. Yeah. Are you
Yeah.
are you like principal or are you just in the section?
So I've been in the section for a few years now as a sub, and that I guess they call that an associate musician. And over the years, I've kind of moved up a little bit here and there. They flipped the list around kind of majorly in October of 2020, and then everybody retired. So I was at the top of the list. Everybody retired, and so I don't have a title or anything, but I'm essentially acting principal for right now.
Okay.
And that was something I was going to kind of keep on the DL, but there's no reason to. I mean, I feel pretty comfortable with where I'm at with that position, and I've done a good job with the orchestra for the last several years. But yeah, it's weird, man. Kind of looking ahead, they announced the season for next year, and just like, oh my god, I'm going to play all these major excerpts. Because like they're the audition's not there will be an audition
Let's put them
eventually.
to use finally.
I know, like there will be an audition eventually, but that's probably not on their radar right now because they have so many other auditions for other sections to go
I'm
through,
sure. Yeah.
violin, viola, like these kinds of things. And I think I'm local and reliable and that kind of thing, and I'm gonna be at every show. I'm not gonna double book myself or anything, even though I could say no to the symphony. I want to be there. I canceled a trip to Austria this summer, you know, to be with the symphony, like to go study with Colin Curry, and financially it makes more sense to be with the orchestra, show my face, you know what I mean, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it'll. Yeah, I mean, there's Austria will always be there. You
Yeah. So it was sad because it's like any excuse to go to Europe I would normally take, but that was
know?
very weird to say no to that. But so yeah, man, I'm playing principal for now, and we'll see how everything shakes out with that. But yeah, I'm seeing like 4C interludes, tambourine, Rite of Spring, Shasti 10 on snare. Like all these excerpts are flying by next season. I'm like, all right, this is gonna be fun.
Jeez, dude, you're gonna have to, man, whip out the old excerpt book.
I
I
know.
all those. Who wrote those or like who put them together?
Rainer Carroll.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And man, finally putting them to use. Like, cause I don't think I've ever played like a symphony gig like that required some of those major excerpts. Like
Hmm.
it's always been like pop shows or something like that. So that's interesting.
It's so
That
different, man.
yeah, I'm sure it is because I mean it's like you're in a cover band and
Hmm.
it's like you gotta like it's either but in this case you have no wiggle room. That's how I've always viewed it. Like some cover bands you play in or like 80s like classic rock or like yeah, I just kind of play the
Hmm.
same part. But in this case, it's like you can have your own interpretation maybe, but like it's subtle. It's not like it's like a major
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah, I mean, and I've played some pretty major excerpts with the symphony because the principal who just retired was very like he was trying to teach me, and kind of get me involved, and he didn't have an egotistical bone in his body, so like he didn't mind. And Shasti 7 would come up, Prokofiev 5, Bolero, and he would just be like, play snare drum,
Mm,
and so I kind of got the feeling. I mean, those are some of the hardest excerpts I think in the world, the Shasti and Bolero for sure, like keeping the orchestra together and that kind of thing. Um, but it taught me a lot about the pressure that you feel in those situations. I get more nervous for that shit than I do for any solo recital or any concerto. I'm
yeah.
shaking, my legs shake. I get tunnel vision. It's just horrible. But I think what's been funny is like even when I would play soft triangle on a non-important triangle part, and he'd be playing principal, and the other guys in the section be playing more important parts, I would be like nervous just for like small triangle entrances because I always just felt out of my element playing in the orchestra.
Yeah.
Um, but then the pandemic happened, and I started playing in the orchestra again, and I've been playing principal for a year now because he never, basically nobody came back during COVID before they retired. They were still technically in the orchestra, but they just didn't want to come back. Um, and so then I was playing everything. I was playing Firebird by myself, reduced, like just all sorts of stuff, like just excerpts from it. And when I would play these soft entrances, I didn't feel anything because like I didn't care about music.
Yeah.
So the pressure wasn't there.
You're just
So
like,
it was,
F it, dude.
I
Like,
didn't care. So I was
yeah.
just like playing. I never felt any nerves. I felt a little bit. I just played the organ symphony. I played cymbals, and there's like big cymbal moments in that. You know,
Mm.
I think that's really the only thing. And I felt a little bit of like jitters because I was like, oh man, I don't want to pocket this cymbal crash and sound like an asshole. But
That's when I pocket the most, is when I'm
I
thinking
know.
about it too much. It's like, dude, one of my last cymbal crashes as a grad student was pocketed, and
Hmm.
I was like, are you kidding me? Like at this stage, like like, do I need to like fail a couple classes and redo a year like that? But
Yeah,
that's because I was thinking about it too much. But
I think yeah. I mean, being able. I mean, that's the goal with orchestra stuff is to be able to let go of the pressure and the moments that we put on ourselves. It's just like going through life as a young child. You're very free and open minded, and then society puts restrictions on you and things, and then you kind of live the rest of your life trying to emancipate from those restrictions that
right,
everybody's set on you. I think orchestra's the same way. Like if you'd have told me in sixth grade, now okay, let's be realistic, ninth grade, that Scheherazade, I could have played that in my sleep, and I wouldn't have given a crap about it.
mm-hmm.
And then someone told me this is a big moment when I was in college, and it's like, uh-oh. And now I would be flipped out about it. So I'm like trying to unlearn that. And I think COVID did me a lot of good realizing how silly what we do is and
Yeah.
why there'd be no reason to be nervous about that, you know?
Do you ever go into anything, because sometimes my most successful performances have been when I go into it from the beginning and go, fuck these nerds. Like I'm just like sitting there,
Dude.
and like it's
And you're
kind of
one of
like,
the nerds.
yeah, and
That's the best part.
I'm one of the nerds, and I'm like, fuck them, dude, they suck. Like they're nerds and they're socially weird, and like it's like, wait a second, I just told the McDonald's worker, "You're welcome." Like, she was something like that, you know. So
I told
it's,
somebody I love you when I got off the phone.
yeah, I,
you know?
I love you, and
Love you, bye. Oh.
yeah, I'm gonna go play a symphony gig now. And so it's, uh, but I feel like some of my most, I think that becomes like a breeding a I don't care attitude, which is fine. I think if you put the work in,
Mm-hmm.
that's if preparedness leads to like kind of like that freedom. But those big moments, man, they're unmatched. They're
Mm-hmm.
completely, you can't replicate that. I don't think. Even like, I think Jacob Nisley, I went to a clinic of his once, and he's like,
Mm-hmm.
what I would do is I would, I don't know if this is stepping out of like telling his whole clinic idea, but like he was like, I would get up at 7 a.m., drive to a practice room with a friend in pajamas, no coffee, nothing, and just go, and my friend would call out random excerpts and I would play them
Mm-hmm.
for him at that, because he wanted to kind of, go across and play through any circumstance, like if he was
Yeah.
sick or tired or, um, not prepared, didn't have a chance to warm up, something like that. I think it was just like
Mm-hmm.
cold, wake up and go play kind of thing, which was super interesting. Why he's one of the best in the business, obviously, because he's kind of like found these hacks that,
Mm-hmm.
that work for him. But that's such a different ball game. Like I think people who don't have an excerpt centric upbringing and educational path don't really fully understand it. I mean, I didn't. I didn't have a fully focused excerpt
Yeah.
path. You know.
Yeah. I don't think, I mean, this is something that I've been, well, okay, there's a couple things in there that I want to hit on. I mean,
Go
number
for
one
it.
is you're talking about like the two things I think about with stage anxiety or whatever you call it. Is, yeah, preparedness and comfort. And preparedness you have full control over, but comfort You don't really, and I think the way that I have gotten comfortable playing, let's say, recitals, is just playing a lot of recitals,
Yeah.
and then excerpts is maybe a lot of mock auditions in situations like you're talking about, but it's still not the same, and it never will be. You just have to do it in an orchestra.
Mm,
But I feel like like again, like I was saying, my fast track to comfort has been COVID because it made me just not care.
yeah.
But now it's like I'm starting to care again in a good way, but the pressure itself has been left behind. So it's this weird way of like everybody's gonna have to find comfort, and that's the one that's the hardest to find to get away from fear and to get into comfort. That's the one that's hardest to find. But you were saying that maybe excerpt centric people know that best. See, this is the thing, I don't know about that because I've never been an excerpt person. I've played my required ones. I've done a good job with them to the level that I needed to, and I have an understanding of it. But it's fundamentally not like that in the orchestra, like not even a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, and I just hate this idea that like I'm trying to get myself out of thinking it too. That someone who's like excerpt centric is automatically more qualified than me. Because that's what I always used to think. Like someone would come in and play. Like for instance, a guy from CIM came and played on this gig with me, and he's like on the sub list. He comes and plays. He goes to CIM. He studies with Mark Damalakis, and I'm any other day before COVID, I would have been like nervous and scared
In this case,
that
you're
that,
like, fuck this
that
nerd.
this guy's like judging me,
Yeah.
and he's a super nice guy.
Yeah.
Uh, it's nothing against him. It's my own personal insecurities that would have made me feel that way. But then he showed up here, and I'm like, you know what? I've played with the orchestra for 4 years, and I know how I sound. And I know how the orchestra plays and everything like that. And there is no reason. So it was the first time where I wasn't like judging myself against the person next to me.
Yeah.
It's really cool, but I just don't think that being an excerpt person is the end all be all. I'd rather someone not be and be a better musician and have the capacity to just learn the excerpts along the way because that's
I think that's the route I kind of took because I didn't really understand the hype around it. And look, I would love to get somebody on here, maybe with but the both of us, and so we can talk about that path and its benefits. But I mean, I and some people don't. I don't know. I don't. I've never met. I've only met probably two high school kids that are like, I just want to go study excerpts. You know what I mean? I think the majority of us get into
so
this.
weird.
Yeah, I mean, like I think the majority of us get into this either through playing drum set as a kid or like marching arts or whatever. I'm not really convinced that like somebody goes in unless they have like an orchestral family. They go in and they're like, I really want to play Scheherazade right now. Like I really want to play Firebird Suite. I really want to play the Magic Flute right now. And so um, I want to know when it shifts for people because it's never been like an appeal to me. I'm not even sure like it's a full on appeal to some people, but there's like such a competitive aspect to it that
Hmm.
like I think it was Rob Knopper who said he would like put in 4 to 6 hours on excerpts a day,
Right.
um, which is a lot. I mean, because there's a lot of excerpts, but you know the benefits of it are like you're paying close attention to detail on your sound, working on accurate. You're going to be really accurate, or at least try to achieve that accuracy that's required. But at the end of the day, like I still want to play other stuff like too. You
Yeah.
know, I've never, like I said, I've never had that pull to be like, I think I'm just going to put in like 8 hours of excerpts today.
Yeah.
Just never have.
Excerpts are just a means to an end at this point to win an audition. Everybody around the country accepts the fact that the audition system is horribly stupid. I think by and large, like
I
the way
agree.
that we do it. I mean, because yeah, if you can play an excerpt super well, very musically in time, not miss a note, that doesn't mean a damn thing when you get on the job. The minute you get with the orchestra and things are falling apart from the left to the right side of the group, and the conductor's in one tempo trying to bring it together, and then it's your responsibility to be the glue, you're not going to be playing that excerpt the way that you would play it any other time.
Yeah.
And like the beginning of Porgy and Bess is never together with the orchestra. I mean, that's chaotic. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like playing, yeah, Bolero, Shasti 7, those things, like you have to adjust what you're doing sometimes. You can't just play. And this is the problem. Like you hear a lot of orchestras I play in or I sub in or I have over the years, you get players that come in that are inflexible and they're just playing like they would play in an audition, and everybody around them gets pissed. You can just feel the tension in the room. Whether it's a clarinetist, an oboist, and it's just insensitive music making, and that's what I think excerpts breed. Which is why if someone tells me like I really want to play, I want to win an orchestra job is maybe different than I want to play excerpts. Like if it's
Yeah.
like I want to play excerpts, that's like almost, yeah, it's so competitive. It's almost like you just want to march DCI the rest of your life, but then eventually you age out,
I was
or
about to
eventually you
say,
win a job. And when you win a
yeah,
job, that competitiveness goes away, and then you're going to be unhappy because your whole musical career was predicated on winning the job, you know?
that I was about to say that I think marching uh, truthers and orchestral excerpt and try to win an orchestral job truthers are the same kinds of people.
Uh-huh.
Um, I just don't understand why people don't realize that your road ends performing in the marching arts at 22. Like that is
Yeah.
so young, and then they try to go in tech, and a lot of people can't teach, and that's a hard
Right.
pill for people to swallow. Um, and they find out the hard way and stuff like that. And it's weird, but um, I mean, like for somebody who I was very lucky to go through two programs that promoted versatility.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at the end of the day, if I were in a program that didn't promote versatility, I don't think I would be having as much fun because I just like to play drums. It doesn't really
Yeah.
matter what it is. If I got called for an orchestral gig tomorrow, I'd love to take it. If I got called for a hand drumming gig the next day, I'd love to take it. Pop percussion, drum
Mm-hmm.
set, whatever it is. And that's because I just want to play. Uh, I don't really understand why there's some people that really hold on to that marching thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think I only know maybe two people who make money playing marching snare drum, you know.
Right.
And by that, I mean like it's not like their full-time thing, you know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
that's a really touchy subject because the marching community is so influential and it's so big. Big in terms of communities within percussion.
Mm-hmm.
But I marched drum corps. You marched drum corps.
Yeah.
I mean, it was cool. I didn't really get bitten by the bug. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. I don't know if you did or not, but
I knew there was no road forward with it, so I had been offered a tech at like Phantom, and like I'd been offered to do things that in normal life would have been, or not normal life, but in like my dream world would have been like, heck yeah, let's go do it. And then you realize, yeah, I mean, they're not going to pay you anything really. I mean, they're going to pay you enough to just get through the summer.
right.
Um, and it just, none of it made a lot of sense to me. And at that time, I already knew that I wanted, in my mind, I had bigger things that I wanted to do than that. Not that those aren't big. I mean, those are dreams for some people, especially people who don't go in to be music majors. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's a different story.
Right.
It almost becomes like your hobby, which is great. But yeah, the people who are actual, music majors trying to make a living in that field, it doesn't seem as, yeah, there are very few people who are going to become caption heads and make real money doing this. And my
I don't
buddy
think there's
Sean
enough
Clark is
room.
one of them.
Yeah, I mean,
You
I don't
know,
think there's enough room. I
no,
don't.
there
There's
can't
people
be.
there can't be at all unless you're trying. There's a bunch of people trying to start indoor groups, and I mean, obviously, it's way harder to start a drum corps, but um,
Yeah,
I I think forging your own path that way would is fine. But like, I mean, it, it's just tough. The way they have to operate too as nonprofits and how the money works and everything. From what I've seen, I've never tried to start a group, but um, and teaching indoor is one thing too. I mean, teaching indoor,
hmm,
there's a lot of benefits to it. Um, but like I said, I mean, I just don't think there's enough room. I mean, I don't see anybody. I mean, you think about the big names in marching. You think about Paul Rennick, Sandy Rennick, John Mapes, Ian Grom, Mike Jackson, um,
hmm,
and people like that who are gonna be around for a long time and are gonna
yeah,
influence a lot of people for a long time. So there's not enough room. I wish there was. I mean, it is
yeah,
cool activity when it's done the right way, I think.
yeah. And back to the, like, we were kind of comparing this to the orchestra thing too. I mean, with the orchestra stuff, I think everybody can kind of agree that the best musicians in the orchestra are the people that don't just play excerpts. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like when you think about like my buddy Pedro, who plays in Indianapolis, like he can do everything, but he can also play excerpts, and he can make the finals of auditions for top five orchestras in the country. Um, but yeah, I mean, no one's like, I mean, I don't know what Mark Damalakis does. Mark Damalakis is just a freak of nature. I only know him from excerpts, but I'm sure like he can play snare drum, like solo stuff. He can do a lot of other stuff.
Tom Sherwood.
Yeah, so but I think like a lot of the one hit wonder type players aren't the people that we know and idolize in the orchestral world. But we're all still teaching to the test of the audition. It's just I don't
There's a lot
know.
of traditionalism. I think we've talked about traditionalism before. I'm
Hmm.
speaking from a person who's never really done a real audition. And real, I mean by like like a full time
Hmm.
orchestral position. Um, but when is that going to be? Maybe there's not a need to change it. I don't really know. Um, but like for instance, like what would you say is outdated with that process? The whole
Well, I don't
blind
know that it
thing,
was. Uh, I don't know that it was ever dated. Like I don't even know that I don't know that it was ever actually appropriate. I
right?
mean, the problem is there's not a there's not like a better way necessarily to judge a lot of it. Um, because you could have someone come in and play some solo rep, and that might be a little different than what they would try to do in the orchestra. If you have people just playing the same excerpts over and over, though, what like test tube music making, that seems silly because yeah, those are the parts that you play in the orchestra, but it's not how you play them.
Yeah,
And
the sight reading aspect too. The sight reading aspect, from what I've heard, there's like a formal sight reading aspect. There's like all like,
it depends where you are. Yeah.
yeah. Are you ever gonna have to sight read at
So
a
sometimes, I mean, like sometimes music won't come in until like for certain pop shows, the arrangers or the if a guest conductor's bringing their own stuff or an act is bringing their own arrangements and they're not done until they get there, that definitely happens,
okay?
and you're pretty screwed at that point. And sometimes like the Glock books will be hard for those types of shows, and so I think like the auditions that'll make you sight read on Glock or xylophone, like that's pretty realistic.
Okay.
It just depends. And then some, I mean, sometimes people don't practice before they come in, so they're sight reading, but they didn't need to be. A lot of
Right.
the strings are doing that. I mean, on these pop shows, they wouldn't practice that stuff anyways because most of them think it's beneath them, to be honest
Right.
with you. But,
High
um,
society.
or like sight reading. I think in Columbus, there was a sub audition they did a couple years ago, and I don't know if they ever actually did it because I didn't take the audition. That's a whole other thing. But I was the principal told me that he was thinking about having chime sight reading because like that's super realistic. Playing chime
Yeah,
sucks,
it does.
you know.
It's the most inconvenient position, especially of a person of my stature who's 5'7" on a good day.
Yeah,
So
I feel you. So I think that would be kind of funny, but I don't know that there's a better way to do it. And I do and I don't believe in the screen to some degree. Part of me, so what's interesting about that is like I've always thought, yeah, the best person should get the job no matter what. So you should have a screen up the entire time. And then obviously there's like arguments being made now in terms of diversity that the screen should not be up in absolutely not up in the finals, but even like maybe in earlier rounds, maybe the screen doesn't need to be up because maybe we need to be like taking race into account as we go through it. So then there's this is coming up. There was some New York Times article I believe that months ago that kind of came out and people were debating it. But then like I think we can all agree we by and large want the best person to win the job. Part of me thinks like, well shit, I've I never had this perspective until now because I've been playing with the orchestra for 4 years. Like, well, what do my 4 years mean when I get to the audition?
mm,
Right? Like if they hold an audition for principal in Columbus, what do my 4 years that I've put in, my service to the group, and now I'm acting principal without the title, and I'm taking care of part assignments and gear inventory and all that. And it's like, what does that mean? Does that count for anything, or should it just be the best person gets the job? Because now it's selfishly in my head, I'm like, man, I really want that to count for something, you know?
Right.
Whereas
Yeah.
before I ever played there, I was like, yeah, best person gets the job. So I see everybody's point of view with this now, and I'm like, oh, this is a hairy situation.
Very, very hairy.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, I think in any other facet that would mean something, right? Like, no question.
Right.
And it's kind of like when in sports when like a head coach gets fired and his assistant doesn't get moved up, like
Exactly.
who's been there for just as long as he has, and
I
he's like,
know.
wait, what? So they're like, no, 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 we got this Hall of Fame coach, and they're like, oh, all right,
Hmm.
you know. So I guess it just depends on the organization, their decision making, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a
Yeah,
full
it's
time orchestra, right?
no, not necessarily. I mean,
People
it's like a
do
20.
like relocate to be in it though, if they make it.
Yeah, they would.
Hmm.
I mean, salary is probably around like, I don't know, 40 to 50.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, it would be enough to relocate. It's one of those things where they had their weeks cut like 10 years ago, like cut in half, but the per service paid didn't decrease. Like they kept a high per service rate, but for less services. So like the money you make when you play is really good, and if you are a full time member of the orchestra, you have a lot of weeks off that you could go do other things. So for me, it's almost like, man, this would be a dream job to like
Right.
win the audition, or if they held a principal audition and then they didn't, if they just use subs below the principal, which in a lot of these smaller orchestras they'll do that. They won't have like a second percussionist also contracted.
Right.
Um, and if I maintain my position there, you're still playing on any concert that needs two percussion, and that's most concerts that need percussion. So
Right.
even that would be fine with me. But yeah, having health insurance would be nice when and if the time does come that they hold this audition. Um,
It's my 5 day anniversary of not having health insurance. So
oh really?
yeah, feels great.
I know. I haven't had mine since January. Yeah, because my I was on my dad's health insurance for a long time, and his work was one of those. It's not when you turn 26; it's the rest of the year that you're 26. So it was like
Oh,
last July I turned 26, and then I had it until January 1.
okay.
So now I haven't had it for a long time, and I'm having some issues, and like I need to get some health insurance, bro.
Dude, I'm like afraid to like go on a run. I'm like, is a broken ankle worth this? No,
I know.
no, it's not.
I know.
It's I don't know. It's strange. I mean, my girlfriend says that I'm in my late 20s. I'm saying I'm mid 20s still. I think 24 to 26 is mid 20s. I
Yeah, I
think
think so.
27 to 30 or 27 to 29
Hmm.
is late 20s. I think we're all in agreement here. She just wants to make me feel old. So,
Okay.
I mean like and
You're not
but
old.
here's the thing. I got sick the night of my birthday. So I was like this is like exactly how it should be written, right? Like I don't have health insurance anymore. So I might as well just get sick, right? I mean, let's just test the waters a little bit. Thank God it wasn't COVID. I haven't gotten COVID yet. Um,
Yeah.
and I was like, all right, well, if I wake up and I can't taste or smell anything, that's it. And so, uh, thankfully, it wasn't it. It was just what they call good old hay fever that I had back in January as well. But like, man, I was like, is this what it's going to be like? I started getting all paranoid and everything like that. So I'm like, now I'm looking for a job and it's like mostly for those health benefits. So
I know
um,
it's weird, man.
it'd be rough
It's a
out here.
weird. Yeah, like I think perspective and your responsibility changes too. Like I would have never considered. Yeah, I mean, I want a full-time gig. I'm still not going to take a bullshit job that I don't want, but like the idea again of like a symphony job where I'm only there half the time, half the weeks is so appealing to me. Even though
Define
the audition,
bullshit. Define bullshit job.
well, for me, a bullshit job is going to be different than anybody else. Like I don't just mean like I would never say that in reference to like fast food workers or like retail or things that other people might refer to as that. In fact, I think I'd be happier doing those things than I would be teaching at a university. For
Have you
me,
ever considered teaching like high school or middle school?
yeah, for sure. I would hate that. I mean,
Yeah.
I like doing it. I used to like teching. I did a music ed degree. I, I say this objectively. Like I think I'm great with kids, you know, but it's just something that's not rewarding for me as much.
Announcing Cameron Leach's kids percussion camp,
I
Columbus,
know,
Ohio.
right?
I'm just kidding.
I
But
love working with kids on like a temporary basis, but if I had
yeah,
to come into the same classroom every day, I would just. So yeah, my idea of a bullshit job for me, it would be considered bullshit because I gave up. And me giving up would be taking a band director job at a middle school or high school because that's what I've been fighting myself away from
hmm
for a very long time. And now that I've taught college a couple different times, I've realized I don't want to do that either. And I'm pretty confident that I could go get a college job depending on where it is. I'm not saying I could win Michael Burritt's job at Eastman, no, but I think I could go pretty handily get a job if I wanted, and I was looking and committed to that, but I'm just not, and I don't want to have to do that. Or I have like local universities in Ohio that ask me to come do adjunct work, and I just say no because I don't want to give up and do that. And the adjunct work doesn't have the health benefits anyways. You know what I mean?
I think it's different because like like there's these paraprofessional jobs in Texas that
Mm-hmm.
are like not as much time as you would be completely full time certified pay. You get pay plus lessons, but then like for somebody like me who doesn't own a marimba or a vibraphone or anything like that, it's also access to those
Right.
instruments. I think it's different because like I don't want to give up either, but there's also like a sense of necessity. Like how am I supposed to
Yeah.
do it? There's a it's not paranoia quite yet, but the pandemic did shift a lot of people's mindsets. I think. I mean, it
No,
shifted
man.
yours, right?
It's so it's not giving up for you. I mean, this is the thing. What I'm saying is everybody defines bullshit in their own terms. So I'm not
Right.
saying having a college job or a high school percussion director job is objectively a bullshit job. For me, subjectively, it is because it means that I've given up and that's what I'm trying to do now.
Right.
Some
Yeah.
people, that's their dream job, you know,
Man. Yeah.
and their bullshit job would be playing recitals or something. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Flips.
so I don't want anybody to think I'm ragging on certain professions. I'm
No, you're
not. It's
not.
just me mentally in my head. But what you're saying is I mean, flat out, it's driven by fear. It's the fear of not having access to instruments. It's the fear of not having health insurance. The fear of not having a steady salary. Everything is fear driven, which hardens you a little bit and is good. But also at the same time, I've realized that when things are taken care of, like this summer, I know where my money's coming from. I know how much I'm making from the orchestra. All the dates are in my phone, and I'm not worried about the summer. And it's the most fucked up feeling I've ever had in my life.
What the sense of calm, like
Yeah, well, the sense of not needing to hustle. Like, I'm going to
yeah,
hustle because I want to, not because I have to. And some people think that's a little comfortable. For me, in my case, having hustled out of necessity for so many years, I'm finally going like, I can be calculated now.
yeah,
You know, I
yeah.
can like take time and be patient. Um,
That's a relaxing mindset. I think it's
yeah.
like a more planned, structural approach as opposed to just like yes, 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 yes. You know what I mean? And clogging up the calendar. Um,
And I think you need to feel. I think you need to feel all of the way. You need to like do necessity, and then you need to do it both ways. You
right.
can't just have it one way, you know. But you can't stay in like Gary V hustle mode all the time. And for Gary V, it's not Gary V hustle mode. He's financially taken care of, and he knows it.
Yeah.
It's different, you know. He even though he does work hard.
Yeah, I mean, like, but the work is different for him now. Like, I'm sure there was this,
Hmm.
like, you talk about like, I reference athletes a lot, and like, there's a different mindset when it comes to playing in college, trying to get to a professional league, to getting to the professional league. I mean,
Yeah.
some people are the most talented people who get there, who get to that level, get that first paycheck, and they're like, I'm set. I
Hmm.
mean, and I think the mindset changes. Same thing what people say about Conor McGregor now. Conor McGregor makes a
Hmm.
couple 100 million, doesn't fight as hard, doesn't train as hard. That's
Mm-hmm.
just me reading Twitter, but
Yeah.
it's an example, right, of like comfort leads to a little bit more relaxation, and it leads to a little bit less grit because you don't have to grind as much.
Yeah. I think it depends. I mean, because I'm looking at it going, the great what I'm appreciating about my position is that I don't know when the symphony run for me is going to end. So on any given day, based on the collective bargaining agreement, they could rearrange the list. They could yank me off it. Like they could do whatever they want to my position. In the fall, they could appoint somebody to a 1 year contract, some random person fly them in. I mean, they could do all sorts of things, and I'm just like hoping that they don't.
Right.
But I know for the summer that I'm set. So what's beautiful about it is like I have like a set amount of time that I look ahead and go, I'll be comfortable for those 3 months, and then after that, it's the Wild West again. So there's like I'm living in both of those worlds simultaneously. I'm fearful, but I'm also comfortable in the immediate future.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that. But yeah, I mean, the other thing though is, yeah, Conor McGregor. These are all going to be case by case. But for instance, Conor McGregor may not fight as hard anymore. But what do you think about his overall level of happiness?
Oh, I'm sure because if you watch
It
his
it,
documentary, I mean, like
it
comparatively, I'm sure it's different.
it could be really high. It could be that money's tearing him apart. I don't know his inner workings, but I'm sure now that he's taken care of and comfortable, he's having the time of his life probably.
Yep.
And so like yeah, maybe he doesn't want to go in there. He loves fighting, but maybe he's going to realize like maybe I shouldn't go get my brains bashed in. Maybe I should
Right.
enjoy my life.
Right. Raise his son with a full functioning brain. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like,
I don't
yeah, I
know.
mean, different circumstances for everybody. I think it's very easy to give out general and objective kind of statements about what happiness is, but
Yeah.
um, at the end of the day, and I've been very open about this with people that are close to me, it's like um, this stretch of time where things I've been, for lack of a better term, getting shit on. There is a strange kind of like dwindling mindset of like hustle when it comes to like why put in all this work for it to just fall apart, which is a mindset that doesn't exactly breed success. But
Right.
when it comes to, I guess, playing in general, right, not having an access to my own space, not exactly trying to make it work because of, I'm like, well, this is pointless kind of thing, that leads to kind of a, it all comes crashing down and you wake up one day and you're like, I think I needed that because you kind of reset after a while and you kind of go back to some things that made you love playing in the first place.
Mhm.
And you look at yourself and I'm only 26. Like there's plenty of time left. You know what I mean? And so I think I think I miss the grind. I've said that before on this podcast. I miss the grind a lot, and I do better when I have more things up in the air. But I think this gave me a chance to get back to the roots of why I started playing. I mean,
Mhm.
not to sound like a broken record, but 7 years of college and 7 years of a long days and everything like that really teaches you and shows you how you're able to be more productive with more things up in the air, more balls to juggle. So um, I think it's been a good reset. I think for me, my summer is the opposite. Just being completely open, my summer is completely opposite. I don't really have a ton
Right.
going on in the summer because my current job situation kind of fell apart based on administrative choices, and so it's like now I'm in hustle mode again
Mhm.
because I went from having financially a decent amount coming in per week to I'm gonna have hopefully I get some gigs called in. So
Mhm.
uh, I think I was in the whole like I don't have to worry about money for a while aspect to now it's I think we're in completely opposite positions where now I think I'm gonna have to put my nose down and grind. So
Mhm.
it's but that's what people don't realize. It's different for everyone. Like social media shows you everybody playing gigs or like posting videos and then playing
Mhm.
whatever, but you don't know if that could be banked. That could be from an old practice session. That could be, you
Yeah.
know, the first gig they got in 8 weeks or something like that. So it's
Mm-hmm.
been really trying to stay off the phone. I know we've talked about lack of social media activity, but
Mm-hmm.
um, having those essential kind of times, like productive times, and then getting off of it, having the timer on the app to say like, okay, let's get off Instagram for the rest of the day. And you've already did what
Mm-hmm.
you need to do on there. Let's get off for the rest of the day. So it's grind time, but at this time around, especially with everything opening back up, getting vaccinated and everything like that, looking forward to it, which is, I think, a good sign. You know.
Yeah. The work's going to be coming back in droves, man. I really do believe that. Like,
Yeah.
the more that I'm seeing how things are kind of shaping up, like, yeah, the amount of work is going to be pretty outstanding. I think people are itching to get out. I mean, it's getting crazy out there, and you're in Texas, and it's already been kind of crazy, I think. But just when I'm seeing it, what I'm seeing in Ohio, what I just saw in Iowa was like people are ready to go.
Yeah.
They are itching, man. But
And the people who don't are going to be left behind. I mean, they'll be stuck in their homes by choice,
uh
and
huh.
which I'm seeing a lot of that. You know, like people are still not convinced. I'm like, dude, the CDC said it. I mean, like let's all try to keep moving forward, and so it's. I think it will come back in droves. I think it will. I think eventually things will turn around for everybody who's in my position, and I just want people to know that you're not alone, right? I mean, I'm
Hmm.
not sitting here trying to be, Gary Vee or somebody like that who are very motivational, David Goggins, but like it's gonna turn around. I mean, I'm just tired of feeling like it's not going anywhere. It's sickening,
Hmm.
it's frustrating, and it's exhausting. So whoever's listening to this who needs to hear that, I think it's gonna be all good. Not to make this a motivational podcast, but it's time. I think I'm exhausted, and I think everybody else is too. And then it's so kind of, I guess, I don't know how to explain it. Maybe it's useful to experience this because this isn't going to be the last time that something like this happens, right? Especially in
Hmm.
people in our position. Um, and I think it's going to prepare you for the next time it happens. Because who
Hmm.
knows what's going to, I mean, nobody expected a pandemic to happen. Nobody even knew what pandemic meant for a while. And so yeah, bottom line is I think it's going to turn around, like you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Oh gosh.
A lot there. But at the end of the day, there is I just got an email about PASIC that's going to be happening. So
Hmm.
there, I think it was like, I forget what it said. But yeah, they're doing 4-day in-person badges. So maybe PASIC's going to be a lot of fun this year.
I know. I mean, it's so funny because I've been going through really big. So I have like I don't know. I don't know if I have like clinical depression or not. I've never gone to the doctor to talk about like those kinds of things.
Right.
But like the pandemic exposed kind of the different ways that it can manifest and the different swings that it can have. Like I think for the beginning of the pandemic, I was kind of swinging back and forth between like really hyper motivated and really depressed, and then I went through like a very long period of just horrible. Like I never came back up for air, for months, and like got pretty suicidal feeling and like just a lot of stuff going on there. And then I kind of came out of it and had a really high, and then I started swinging again. And so I'm kind of swinging back and forth now, but I'm sort of on the horizon, I think, of feeling really good consistently
Yeah.
because work's coming back and stuff like that. But like a couple weeks ago, man, I was like, well, it didn't help that I was having a little whiskey, but I
Did
was
you get
in
my
here,
text the other day, by the way?
dude. Yeah, I'm sorry because I was in Iowa. I
Yeah.
apologize.
But you're
Yeah,
proud of it, right? That's good.
Sagamore Rye. People love that stuff, man. I
Dude.
haven't had any of it.
So a friend bought it for me for my birthday. So I
Oh,
was
that's a
like,
great
I
gift.
texted Kim. I was like, "How'd I do?" And he
That's a
didn't
great
respond.
that's a
So I guess
great
I did
gift.
bad. So
No, I'm sorry. It was a crazy trip, but
yeah.
um yeah, so anyways, I like a couple weeks ago almost canceled my Pasek concert. I got so dark, man, and
Yeah.
I was like, why am I doing this? I was ready to I was ready to just 100% say I am done playing shows, and I'm just gonna go do something else.
Because
You know,
it's funny because our last episode we talked about how you're going to prepare for that. So I guess
I know.
maybe the week after that you were
Yeah,
feeling like
yeah,
maybe I
because it
should
was,
just can it.
and it was like during a really low point too of like just being so bogged down with work, which is I'm just trying to get to a point where I never let myself physically or mental. You can't help it mentally a little bit, but I don't let myself physically suffer from the amount of work I have. Like where I literally can't sleep. I have to eat like shit because I'm on the go. Like I'm gonna start avoiding those moments altogether. And if someone wants to put me in that position, the only way I'll say yes is if you give me a lot of money.
Let me
And I
see
don't feel bad about that anymore. I used to feel like, you know,
let me see
man,
the
money
zeros.
talks.
Yeah.
Money talks, you know, and so when it comes to fees and stuff like that, I've decided I'm going to start respecting myself a lot more in the industry and just with everything else. But yeah, I was like ready to cancel my PASIC show, and then I started getting really motivated about the PASIC stuff like a week ago or so. I was like,
What
this is
changed?
I don't know. I think I saw the emails come out and I was like, oh shit, this is real, man. You know, and then I got my contract in my email from PASIC, like
Oh,
whatever my
nice.
artist agreement, which I haven't opened it yet, but I've been waiting to open it to kind of see what it's all about and stuff. But it became very real to me that this could be a really cool thing. And then also I just prepared Nick Worth's piece and recorded it, and it got me playing again since the concerto that I did, and I was like, okay, yeah, this
What
is
piece is
tight.
that?
It's called Originating Within. We commissioned it. Me and a bunch of people commissioned it at the beginning of the pandemic. So like in April we started work on it. I think he got it to us like September or October of 2020, and I've been sitting on it. And then a lot of people used it. A couple people did their masters recitals in the spring, this spring, and they used that piece. You know, and I couldn't let them call that the official premiere, unfortunately. But I'm going to be doing that premiere in a couple weeks here on a virtual series. It'll be sort of like the official virtual premiere, but I'm gonna play it at PASIC. You know, it's a badass piece, man. It's
Yeah.
broken fivelet grooves where you're playing like I have a marimba mallet here and I'm playing low marimba bass notes. I have a Glock mallet on the inside where I'm playing Glock melody, and then I've got a kick drum and then I'm playing vibe notes in my left hand vibe chords. So I'm like all over the place, and I've got a snare drum with a splash cymbal to like in front of me. And it's like,
Dude.
and you're meanwhile like handling bass, melody, and filler material.
Dude, that's super dope.
It's sick.
He wrote this piece called
Boom bap.
Boom Bap. Yeah,
Yeah.
heard that one, and then I've heard. Well, I saw him play with his with Ghost Note
Yes.
uh, back in 2015 when he was playing as Galaxy. I'm sure he still does, but he
Mm-hmm.
played this dope Mallet Cat thing. Um,
Check
yeah,
it out.
yeah, that was super dope, and it was so refreshing too because like not everything had to be like percussion orchestra
Uh-huh.
concert and stuff like that. Ghost Note was like the perfect act for that.
Yeah.
It was so sick. That's super dope. I can't wait to hear it. I'm
Yeah.
I'm really
Yeah.
stoked to hear it.
That was part of the stress was trying to get that recorded, and then the presenter moved the date on me, and I had like stayed up for like 2 nights to like get this shit done,
Hmm.
and I woke up to a message after I tried to confirm the date, and it was like, oh, that was just a suggested date. It was like
So you
I was like,
stressed about it for no reason.
what?
Yeah.
Because then I got on a I woke up the morning I flew to Iowa. I woke up at 6 in the morning and went downstairs and shot the music video to it, and then I ran out the door and got on a plane. I was like, and then I got off the plane and it was like, we're not doing it this week, and I was like, what is happening?
Were you relieved or were you
No, because I wanted. Look, I was ready to be balls to the wall, crazy stressed in Iowa. And while I was like I had like 8 or 10 hours of free time total on the trip. I was ready to sit down and cut this video and cut this audio. And then it's like now I got to do it. I'm home, and I wanted to not be worried about this anymore.
yeah.
So
So
I'm gonna do it. I mean, it's gonna be fine, but I think it'll be cool for people to hear the piece. And yeah, for me, it just got me motivated again. Like, oh yeah, I do this.
you need sometimes we just need a fat groove to
I
get us
know.
back into it.
It was a perfect piece. It wasn't like if it would have been a heady piece of music, I would have been like,
That doesn't
I
help.
hate my career.
Doesn't help. Never does. They're like, by the way, we want you to play velocities backwards. And okay, sure.
Just like, I, dude. So, I watched like some Instagram story a couple weeks ago when I was like, I think it was the night that I was gonna bail on my Pacek concert, and I was like watching this dude that I went to school with who shall remain unnamed, great player, super into the contemporary thing. I love shitting on contemporary music because I love playing it. It's just
Yeah,
equally fun for me.
yeah.
And so he was like in a room that was dead, like no resonance, small little room with his marimba, and he was playing like little like hummy roll, duh, like on the crowns of his mouth and like
Yeah.
and and in that room it sounded horrible because like when you get into concert hall that stuff actually sounds like something.
Yeah,
But but in a
blown
room
out.
like that it's nothing and I was like, is this what I do? I had this existential moment and then I went down a dark rabbit hole for about an hour and then like I opened my email and I was like, I'm gonna cancel my Pacek concert.
You're like, this is dumb as shit.
I
Like,
know.
it's like, yeah.
Oh.
Oh my god, dude, you're like one of the last. You're like me at one of the last master classes that I saw at UNLV. This guy came in who also shall rename, remain nameless. Uh, he came in and sight read a new contemporary marimba piece
Okay.
that was just as atonal, as random as you could. And I'm like, there's no way you're sight reading this. You're just playing. Like, and at that point, I was like, is this where marimba playing's going? Like it's so.
Uh,
So you just literally you watch that and you're like that's it, throwing in the towel,
yeah.
selling the board.
Because I had been thinking, yeah, I mean, seriously, I was thinking about like already I was in that mindset, that negative mindset. But then, yeah, this one thing set me off so much because, yeah, because I haven't been on social, I haven't been posting what I'm doing. And I've kind of vowed in my head now to not play music that I just don't want to play. Like plain and
It's not
simple, which
fun,
is
man.
95% of like marimba music. I'm like,
At this point,
I just want to do it. So I'd rather play like groovy backbeat, sweet shit with electronics on stage than this crazy marimba stuff. Even though I mean, God, I love the crazy marimba stuff. I have a great appreciation for it, and I like to do it on occasion. But it's not my bread and butter. Yeah,
speaking
I
of
don't
bread and
know.
butter, we'll go watch our video of Bread and Butter by Andy Smith, Southern Percussion Group. Sorry,
Shameless.
sorry, it was very
No,
shameless.
it's that's good. That's a good plug.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It's my
so I don't know.
editing debut.
I'm glad I didn't cancel my Pacek show. I think I'm glad. We'll find out. I'm 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 a little less than thrilled. Like there's some people I really want to see at Pacek, and there are others that like now I'm just like I don't even want to be around a lot of these people.
I,
So
well, I
we'll
mean,
see.
the pandemic made me less social than I already was, so
Uh
that's
huh.
not good. I do enjoy PASIC. I really do. I wish it was a little bit bigger. I wish there was a. I could do a whole pod on what my issues are with PASIC, but the 2015 San Antonio one was so dope. It was perfect,
Mm.
perfect size, perfect expo floor, clinics, everything. Um, Having it in Indy is I understand the logistical aspect of having vendors and manufacturers be able to drive there instead of driving all the way from the Northeast down to South Texas. But
Hmm.
um, there, I do enjoy it. I think it's a nice escape for a few days where you can just solely be around people who do what you do and talk what you want to do and talk about what you want to do within everything and be able to watch concerts and see what you like and you don't like that's coming out or whatever. But
Hmm.
there, I'm gonna make it a point. I want you to allow me to be backstage while you're playing. So I wanna watch from the side or whatever, and I wanna read you based on our conversations all the way up until that point. We still got quite a bit of time. We'll see what kind
Yeah,
of hills and valleys you go through.
I
So
know, man. Because I think it's going to be probably. I don't know what the fall is going to bring. I know I have a concerto that the date is not set yet, a new concerto premiere. And as far as like recitals go or any university visits, I have zero things on my calendar. And I haven't started reaching out yet. I will start in the summer, reaching out to people and seeing like what's going to come about. And yeah, I mean, being largely absent from social media for the last year plus, I'm like, did people forget about me? Like, forget what
Yeah.
I do? And I don't know.
It's a weird thought to have, but I don't think obviously they haven't, but there's you are gonna have to work back into the algorithm like I'm having to. Like
For
the
sure.
algorithm changes so much. We talked about that last time, and I'm still fighting it. So I mean, but after we record, I'll give you a contact for a clinic in the fall. I think they would enjoy having you. So
That'd be cool.
yeah,
Yeah, just like start to get a couple of things on the calendar. I think if I see a thing or two pop up on the calendar, I'll go, oh okay, like that's great. And I would love to do my PASIC show. I would love to find a way to like do a couple dry runs of my PASIC show somewhere at some school. But the problem with that is it's so gear intensive. And
yeah,
and I don't know yet. I have to open the artist agreement and see if I don't think they've talked about stages and venues and stuff yet for the concerts. But I remember in my application saying like you have to give me one of the two big stages because I need three marimbas on stage,
yeah.
and I need I think two vibraphones and a whole slew of drums and accessories. Like yeah, at a normal university, if I go to try to preview my concert and do that, there's no way they're going to fit all that on stage unless I'm in like their main hall.
Yeah, yeah. If you're in like the performing arts main,
Yeah. So I got to figure that out. But I want to be able to do some runs of it. I don't want PASIC to be the first time I do that show
no, it
that
can't be
way.
right. I mean, it's got to be like
Yeah.
it's got to be either like rent out a church or something like that,
Right.
or try to go to like a local university, or even have to maybe fly somewhere and do it. Um,
Yeah.
I mean,
So we'll see. But that would be
yeah,
funny, man. Like, yeah. See how everything leads up to that moment.
it'd be well documented.
Yeah. There's so many emotions, dude.
Were you thinking about the email you were gonna write to somebody at PAS about canceling? Were you like thinking about how to word it and stuff like that? I
No,
do
I
that
don't
all
know
the
if I.
time.
I don't know. I think I probably was that night, but I can't remember like what I was thinking, like how I was gonna approach it. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, I just was feeling so out of love, disenchanted by everything. I was just gonna be like, I just can't do this.
yeah, yeah. I'm dear PAS. It's just
But
not
it's
gonna
funny because
work.
it's like the dream that you have since you're a kid. It's like I don't know. For me, it was like when I realized what I wanted to do. It's like, oh my god, if I could play a showcase concert at PASIC, that would be like the bee's knees. And then you get it, and you're like, okay. It's like I haven't even done it yet, but I
Yeah,
was just so dark. Like you're like I could live without this, and you're like, no man, you're gonna burn a fat bridge if you
yeah,
do some
dude.
stupid shit like this.
That's a big bridge to burn, because you look at you like go in all of these clinics and concerts and stuff. Like I went to Brian Mueller's in 2019, and he just
Mm,
killed it. He did so well, and like it was so inspiring. Like and the amount of notoriety that he gained from that concert alone, because word spreads from
mm.
people watching him and stuff like that. It was very inspiring. I think you're gonna do the same for people. I really do, because I mean,
Yeah,
people are gonna watch, and they're gonna remember it because it's gonna be good. And it's the same way. Like I told Casey, when I watched his in
yeah,
2015, I was like, dude, you changed a lot for me. Like it
yeah.
was that good. So
That's what I'm. That's what's in my head. There's a couple concerts that I remember from PASIC, not just the evening concerts. I mean, those are always good, but just the things that you don't think can be as cool as they are, like Casey's concert or like Quay percussion duo.
yeah,
When I saw them play, I was like, they didn't have any fancy lights or anything like that. They just went up there and played their fucking asses off,
friends of the
and
pod, Gene and Tim, shout
I
out.
could not. I don't know when that was, 18 or 19, one of those 2 years. I was just like, I can't believe that they just played like that consistently, and everything was so put together. And those are the moments for me at PASIC that are so inspiring. And I'm like, I feel like I could maybe be one of those moments for somebody, in
It
a
can be.
different way.
Yeah.
In a, Casey's got his thing. They had their thing, which was very unproduced, very just straight up music, and then I feel like mine in the electronic vein and all that kind of stuff, and the performance type thing. Maybe that could be something that inspires somebody, but
I
I
think
don't
once you
know.
get there, you sound check, everything's running smoothly. I think it'll just be at that point, it'll just be a breeze, just like with everything else, because the preparation will be there. There's no doubt about that. I think the biggest thing about that is, I think if people can approach that the wrong way, they can look at it as like everybody here does what I do, so like they're gonna judge me consistently. You know what? There's gonna be people out there that do that, because we've talked about it on this podcast before about percussive toxicity. Shout out
Hmm.
Tracy Wiggins on that term. But there will be people like that, and who cares? I mean, like, they're playing drums for the wrong reason. So
Yeah,
there's definitely a different. I think they're going to be a different. You're playing one of the most important basics in history.
yeah,
I mean, like, there's gonna be so much relief. There's gonna be a lot of people there. I think there's gonna be a lot of people there, more so than 19, because people are gonna be wanting to go there. Like,
yeah,
wanting to be around everybody like that. So it's gonna be good. It's gonna be really good.
yeah. That's You said something before that I'm trying to remember what it was. You said something that was very important. I lost it, man.
Preparedness,
Yeah,
sound
I don't
check.
know. Dang, it's one of those moments.
Dang.
I think you're right, though. Yeah, it is going to be. I never thought of it that way. One of the most important basics. Yeah, I think it will end up being that for sure.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
there's a whole be a lot of baggage people would be carrying. I think. I mean, a lot of people's careers have been affected, and it's
Yeah, it was about the people in the audience. Yeah, I think I've come to terms with that now. Like already from playing PASIC or from doing the competition rather in 2017 and knowing that everybody in the audience was like they knew all the rep that I was playing
mm-hmm.
for the most part. I think I've come to terms too with the fact that cuz I'm not doing any crazy marimba stuff. So it's like you're not going to be judging me in my interpretation of like reflections on the nature of water because like everything I'm going to play on the PASIC concert is my own commission. I think.
Yeah,
I
that's the way it should be.
I still have some diversity issues with my programming that I've got to like reconcile or figure out on my end. But I've kind of come to the conclusions, at least for now, as of mid-May, that it's going to be all my own commissions, and I'm going to try to work that issue out. But the goal for the concert was my own commissions, and it needs to be that
Yeah.
for this. So I've
Otherwise,
got to
it's
find a
just
solution.
otherwise it's just percussion top 40.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Um, but I don't think it's going to bother me so much that people are drummers out there because I think when you feel confident and you feel like what I'm doing is actually pretty cool, then it's like if you judge me, that's fine. It doesn't have to be for you, but objectively, I hope that I perform it well. So
right.
then there won't be arguments with that. It'll just be like, well, I hated that piece, and it's like, okay, you can hate that piece.
But he
I
played
like it.
well. Yeah. You know, I hate or despise that piece, and in fact, I think I despise him too. But
It's fine. It's
he played
great.
it well. So I don't mean to sound like too deep when I say it's going to be the most important PASIC ever, or one of the most important PASICs ever, but it's definitely going to have a different vibe about it. It's going to have I think, a more feel good energy around it.
I
And
hope.
I hope it does. It also
Yeah.
could fall apart too. So, I mean,
Yeah. There are some things I'm worried about with it, but I think by and large it's going to be a really positive experience, and people are going to be just like ready to see each other and the whole thing.
yeah. I mean, overall, I mean, I'm excited about going.
Hmm.
I thought about buying my badge yesterday. It's mid-May, so it's
It's cheap now, man. $60.
$60.
What the hell? I mean, that's crazy. I got to get my hotel soon. I want to. Yeah, I'll probably just book that right now.
Hey, if you need somebody to split a hotel with you, I'm
Yeah, I'm down.
yeah,
I'm down.
because
I want to. It's cheaper too this year. Like usually it's 206 a night at the nice ones,
yeah,
and it's under 200 for sure, which is great.
what a steal! Can you believe I'm saying that? Like,
I
for
know.
Indianapolis. I stayed in an Airbnb and it was like 15 minutes away, so I ended up spending the same amount in Ubers. So it's
Right.
like pick your poison.
Yeah, I
Then
like to be close. I like to, man, paying for convenience, there ain't nothing like it.
ain't nothing like it, dude. I have no problem doing that.
No, me neither.
um, yeah. So I think the theme of this episode for everybody is f those nerds. So I mean,
We are those nerds.
we are.
Damn it.
I know. Then I'm gonna get up and take a look in the mirror. So,
Oh man. All right, well cool. Good talking to you, man. Good episode.
yeah, really good episode, and yeah, that was like we caught up after 3 weeks of not doing an episode, and I'm really enjoying this series still, and I think you are as well. So there's I think documenting this almost like path to basic for you, and this like this journey that we're both on that will
Yeah.
take us into the summer and beyond will be very interesting. I feel like I'm going into these right now with nothing really to update. And so I'm hoping I have something to update on my end here soon. Um, there is one project that Southern Percussion got uh, approached to, I don't know, that we are potentially going to be doing something pretty cool here soon, which is exciting. So maybe I'll have an update for you on Offstage 5. But like always, please subscribe, rate, and review TRP on all major streaming platforms. You can follow me at Hartwell Drums. You can follow Cam at Leach Music. Both of our websites, hartwelldrums.com, leachmusic.com. Be on the lookout for the YouTube stuff. I'm putting episodes up pretty consistently, getting the Instagram going with some promo stuff, and yeah, we're in a good place. I'm going to be coming out with regular episodes pretty soon. Well, by the time you listen to this, they'll be out already. Just taking some time to do some in-person ones and not be so Zoom focused and remote focused, just based on the circumstances we're going into, which is hopefully some streak of normalcy. So, any closing words on your end, Mr. Leach?
I'm good, man.
He's all
Covered
good.
it.
He's in a good spot now.
We covered the darkness.
We did. We covered the darkness and the light.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
remember, F those nerds, and that's it for this one. We'll see you next time.